Hello again and welcome back. So today I have another G.I. Joe Ultimates review for you. The Ultimates obviously from Super 7 and this is Wave 2's Lady Jaye. So I picked up the entire second wave from the Big Bad Toy Store, paid around $50 US per figure. I have to say that I'm a little bit nervous about this review. Lady Jaye was one of the figures I was really looking forward to along with Flint, and those seem to be the two figures in this line that have disappointing face sculpts, at least in reviews that I've seen. So anyway, if you're not familiar with Super 7, then they have been doing Ultimate figures for a long time. They had Motu figures, Thundercat figures, Turtles, all sorts, and now I think they're doing movies like Conan and a few other bits and pieces. Fantastic figures, but they are a little bit pricey, and in my opinion they're steered more towards a high-end collector. That sounds a bit arrogant. I didn't mean it to sound arrogant. I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, you pay more than, say, a classified price, so you do expect a high level of quality, and it's disappointing that I'm seeing these reviews that these face sculpts are just not what we were promised. Anyway, taking a look at the packaging, nothing we haven't seen before. You know, this nice green tin for G.I. Joe on the back. Nice picture of Lady Jaye and her bio, and then some screens from the animation. They do come all with their own code. So here you can see so G.I. Joe to Lady Jaye 01, so potentially we're getting maybe another version of her. We've already got another version of Baroness in Wave 4 coming soon, and they all come in these nice shipper boxes as well. So as I said, they are more of a high-end collectible. But anyway, let's open it up and take a look at all the accessories. Okay, so here is Lady Jaye out of the packaging with all of her accessories, and as expected, she comes with a heap of accessories. So starting off, she comes with 3 javelins, 9 interchangeable tips, a canteen, combat dagger, laser rifle, power javelin, a rocket, a camera, an alternate focused head, an alternate head with communication device, a left and right open hand, a left and right closed grip hand, left and right open grip hand, and a quiver. Okay, so getting a closer look at Lady Jaye in hand. Now, I did have some level of trepidation around the head sculpt. I'd seen some reviews online and it looked like the final product was not anywhere near as good as the 3D renders. Now, you can say that about all figures. They never really look as good as the 3D renders, at least in my opinion. But Super 7 are usually quite good. But I think that this, unfortunately, just isn't good enough. If you take a closer look at the actual sculpt itself, in fact, I'll just remove the head just for a second. It is good, it is very good, and it will be difficult to pick it up on camera, but it looks like they actually haven't painted any flesh tones whatsoever. I'm not 100% sure, but this looks like the colour of the plastic, and then they've given it a little bit on the cheeks, and then just on the lips and the eyes, and that's it. And it does tell, it just looks very flat. It looks far too soft. The hair, however, is nicely done. For some reason, mine does have a glossy stroke of paint just there and nowhere else, and it does stick out. Everywhere else is this nice soft matte brown, and the same with the additional head sculpts. They all have the exact same look. This one on the left does not have that glossy stroke of paint, but the hair sculpt is the same. And then with the communication device, it is the same, and then obviously it's just cut down the middle where the headband is. But the paint application on the actual sculpts are the same. They are far too soft, they are far too flat. In addition, there's some serious QC issues happening with the neck. Again, you may not be able to pick it up on the camera, but this has got this very, very light coat of paint, this flesh tone over the actual mold underneath, and you can see the plastic underneath is a much darker plastic. It's actually coming through here a black or a dark blue and all the way through, and it just looks like too much water has been diluted into the paint, or it's been slopped on, or it just looks bad. It doesn't look very good at all. And the arms, they don't have any paintwork at all from the elbow down, and then this portion from the elbow up does have paint on there, but again, it just doesn't work. It's far too thin, and it just doesn't look good at all. It's such a shame, and straight out of the box I could tell that I was going to have some problems with this figure. However, that out of the way, everything else I'm happy to report is nice. So let's just put our complaint with the sculpt, not the sculpt, sorry, the paint to one side for a moment, and just look at the rest of the figure. Now, it is worth noting that in the box, some of the accessories do actually come plugged in. So this dagger, for example, it was actually already just sheathed on her chest like that. And also the same with the quiver. So out of the packaging, this was actually around her, but you can actually take it off, and it has this nice soft plastic material. Very straightforward, just put it over her head, or just put her shoulder up and put it over. So that works really well. And then also, this wasn't attached to her in the box, but it's such a nice piece that I actually put it onto the belt, and I almost forgot about it. But this is the canteen, very nice, just soft matte brown, the silver detailing, and it has one peg hole at the back, and it just has one location on the back of her belt, and it fits in. Really nice touch. I like that. I like it when these figures have accessories on them. We saw with Destro, he couldn't have any accessories on the actual figure, so it's nice to see that Lady Jaye does. And also the belt is a floating piece. You can see here, it's this soft material, and it isn't attached, it does float. And then she has another belt above. This is a tougher plastic, but it is also floating material, floating rather. And then also the same with the sheath. It's this nice soft plastic. This belt is actually sculpted on. It's a hard plastic, and it's sculpted to just there on the shoulder. It doesn't come around the back. And then the overall look of Lady Jaye is spot on. She has that unique look, those dark camo greens for the pants and the gloves, and the light camo green for the shirt. So it works really, really well. It's just such a shame about this horrible paintwork, because the exposed flesh here is just an eyesore on the shelf. It really doesn't work. It takes something away from what would have been a very, very nice piece. I mean, look at the boots, really nicely done. The sculpting in them is very nice. The paint application is good. The whole paint application for the body is nice. It's a very subtle gloss. It isn't a straightforward matte. It has a slight sheen to it. Same with the shirt, but it's done very, very well. She also has this detail, this badge on her left shoulder, which also is very nice. There's no issues with the paint going over. It's all where it should be. So again, it's just such a shame that they got this very, very wrong. So while I'm looking at these accessories, I will just go into a bit of detail about these spears. So she comes with 3 spears, or rather 3 javelins. These 2 do not have interchangeable heads. They're stuck on. And then you get this spear, or rather this javelin. I can't remember which one of the heads comes on by default. Let's just say it's that one. And they all peg in really, really well. One of the nice additions is this fire effect. So this is a very, very nice effect. It's this translucent plastic, so you can actually see through it in the light, and that just fits straight on. She also has 2 spearheads which have this string attached to them. They are different underneath. So that's one. And then this is the second one. There we are. So side by side, you can see they are actually different. And then she also comes with this, which according to the accessories list, this is a power javelin, and it also comes with a rocket, and that just fits straight in to the front like that. You can't get these javelins in. I mean, I guess you could, but it would look strange because they're not going to go any further than that. So these are just for her to be holding. And then she also comes with this real nice camera. It's a shame, however, that the strap for this camera is very tough, so you don't get any flex. Unlike the quiver, it would have been nice to have some flex, so you could have had it with a more of a natural look hanging down, or if she's got it at an angle, it's not going to look unnatural, it's just stuck in place. But it is a nice piece. It's just a straightforward flat black matte finish, but it's nice to see Lady Jaye with her camera. And then finally, she comes with a laser rifle. This is identical to what we saw with Duke and I believe Snake Eyes. Mine is ever so slightly warped at the end. But yeah, nothing we haven't seen before. And then she comes with her additional hands. And these are, again, similar to what we saw with Destro, a nice softer material. I've said it before, Super 7 in the past have released figures with very, very tough hands, and whenever you put an accessory into the hands, it can damage the accessory and or the hand. So it's nice to see that they haven't actually made the same mistake here. It's a soft material. It doesn't look like it's going to damage anything once you put them inside. Okay, so going over the articulation, we're not going to have any surprises here. It's pretty much the bog standard for Super 7 Ultimates. One thing I was surprised, however, was the lack of articulation with the head. For some reason, she's getting no up or down. Literally nothing. Up to about there, down to about there. At first, I thought perhaps it was this head. So let's try a different head. Yep, so no movement whatsoever, no down, no up. You do get rotation side to side, but that's it. In terms of shoulders, you have a straightforward ball joint, so she can T-pose up to about there. You probably could go a touch more, this is a little bit stiff, and then you get a complete rotation. You also get bicep swivel, and a single jointed elbow, and then full rotation and backwards and forwards on the peg for the wrist. In terms of ab crunch, she does have a tiny amount of ab crunch. She can go back to about there, but not much forward at all, if anything. You can get her to rotate at the hips, and she has this nice softer belt, so it's not going to restrict it, it's going to flex with it. The legs, forward to about there, out to about there, no back because of the booty, and then single jointed knee. She does have a boot cut, and then a rocker at the ankle. And there we are for the articulation. And in terms of scale, here she is next to Classifieds Lady Jaye, Reactions Lady Jaye, and Ultimates Duke. And it is worth pointing out that she does scale a little bit too high, I think, with the Ultimates. I'd prefer it if she was a touch smaller. If you look at where their waists are, they're pretty much parallel, as are the shoulders. So I think she's just ever so slightly too tall. Okay, so my final thoughts on Super 7's Ultimates Lady Jaye. Now, toy manufacturers will get things wrong from time to time. That's just the way that it is. It's just a shame that Super 7 got this wrong so early into this new line of figures. And the biggest disappointment about this figure for me is everything works with one exception. You've got some great accessories, the sculpting and paintwork for the body is top notch, and the overall look is very cartoon accurate. But the head just lets it down. The sculpt is very nice, but the lack of paint application and the shoddy paint application on the neck and the arms is just second rate, and it shouldn't be happening. It spoils the overall figure. And unfortunately, it's just not one that I can recommend. I hope that Super 7 listen to the feedback that they've been getting and they right these wrongs before they get any deeper into this line. Because as it stands, this is just a disappointment and I can't recommend it. Well, that about wraps up this review. I certainly hope that you've enjoyed it. And if you have, do give it a like and consider subscribing. And until next time, take care.